everyone, this is Dean for Paranormal Pickers. Just getting ready for our next Paranormal Picker adventure. Come on, join me. Oh, come on. Hopefully it goes.
Oh, it's going.
Oh, it's going.
Yeah, it is going. We are live. Welcome.
It could be. It's gone.
Right. It's a Tuesday. It's 7:30. So you know what that means. We're back here as we always are with Paranormal Pickers. It's been a heck of a whirlwind of a week. Carrying on with our season here. We got season 2, episode 2, the High Priestess, which brings with us the High Priestess herself. And so I want to do my standard greeting here. Hello and welcome again to another exciting and intriguing episode of Paranormal Pickers. With me, as always, we've got the Buddha to my Shiva, the sympathy to my devil, or the beast to my burden, Mr. Dean Thompson to you, and a special guest, Victoria. Victoria, welcome, and tell us a little bit about yourself for those of us watching, listening, and seeing later.
Well, thank you so much for having me on season 2, episode 2, which in numerology is my favorite number, 22.
Hey!
So, it's meant to be. What would you like to know? I mean, I'm, no pun intended, an open book.
Yeah. Well, start with I did a little cyber stalking, as it were, on the profiles, and you've got a lot of things that you've been involved with. Not least of which is the recent move to where you're at, but maybe a little background on the paranormal side first, and then we'll get into the other stuff that we delve into.
The Paranormal Witness Protection Program.
Yeah.
What you're talking about.
Yeah, if you can give us if that is indeed your real name.
I'll never tell. It's on the books. Oh wait, it's on the books. I don't know. It's something that's always been a part of my life. I think, and I always thought it was just my imagination, growing up, because I was always told, oh, you're just imagining all this. But as I got older and started talking to more people, it's not my imagination. And the first thing I remember is what I now know to be probably an ET when I was about 2, because I always thought it was just the fairy godmother from Sleeping Beauty. But no, Andrea Perrin tells me, no, that was probably an ET that came and saw you.
Really?
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. So that was when I was 2, and I've always seen like my family members or people I love or care about right before they die. So they always come, and it's like, okay, see you later, which kind of gets me going to the grieving and the mourning process. So when they actually do pass and my family falls apart, I'm like, I've already done that part. So I can be there for them. So the first one I saw was my grandpa when I was about, I think I was 7 when he passed that night. So he appeared in my room, and they sent me to bed early. So, because they had adult things to talk about. So, they shoved me off to bed like at 7 o'clock, and who wants to go to bed at 7 o'clock? So I was playing with my little stuffed animals in my bed, and there was this translucent milky form that appeared, and I was looking at it. I'm like, what is that? And then it took a shape of a man who was laying down, and then he sat up and he looked over at me, and I was like, oh, that's Grandpa. And he went like, don't talk. And then he was talking to me while not actually moving his lips. So I guess it was telepathically. And he goes, I'm okay. Don't worry about me. Lay down and go to bed. I'm like, oh, yes, sir. Because when Grandpa told you to go to bed, you go to bed, So I went to bed. It's just gone on like that ever since then.
So would you say, after being shushed by Grandpa, even potentially before that, do you find that you come from a long line of sensitives or psychics in the family, or are you the only one in the family?
That's where, how much time do we have? No, that's where I have the nickname of the Paranormal Perfect Storm, because my mom's side is from East Texas, and so they're all the intuitive women, and they, live off the land because they were, I don't want to say they were hillbillies, but, they kept to themselves because it was very, very rural. And this was like the 1930s and 40s and before that even. So they would all have herbal cures, like if you have upset stomach, have some peppermint, and they were all intuitive and they were all psychic. And I remember growing up, like when my mom and my aunt, my grandmother would get together. Here again, they're sending me off to my room, like go on down the hall. And I would hear them talking, and they'd sit around the table and like, the other night I had a dream about blah, 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 blah. And then the other one would respond with, well, you know, I dreamt about them too. And there was a rug and it looked like this. And then my mom would say, yeah, I saw that rug. And was there a rocking chair? I'm like, yeah. And the curtain was, you know, and they would go on like this all night long. So they're having the same dreams. And it usually was, you know, something, I guess, precognitive. An event would happen later. And then when I was doing my genealogy on my dad's side, you know, because that's what we do in the South. There's a long joke there, but, you know, you want to know who you're related to.
Yep.
Okay. So, you know, in the South, you do your genealogy. Who do you come from? Who's your people? So we did ours, or I did ours, and I got it going back to 1605. And then there was part of the family that kind of broke off, and they were actually Romanian gypsies that escaped Germany right before things really went bad. And there was like a big extermination of the gypsy life. They moved to Texas. So there has always been a joke in my family. They're like, well, we know you're going to move, so we're just going to write your name down in pencil in the address book because we know you're going to move. So we're just going to erase it. So I would have my own page, you know. So every time I would move, my dad goes, you know, we have gypsies in our family. But yeah, I know.
Gypsies like to be called gypsies?
I think now it's kind of a negative term, but to me, it's not. To me, it's a lifestyle, and I don't see anything negative about it. It's just a lifestyle. So I apologize if anyone's offended. That's not my intention at all. But you know, I'm always
curious because I know that I had a conversation last night where gypsies don't even want to be called gypsies anymore. So it's like American something, I don't know.
American Bohemian nomadic people?
Yeah, seems very apropos there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't mean it in a derogatory sense at all. But I think it's a wonderful lifestyle. There's negative about every lifestyle, you know. She goes barefoot. That must mean she's uneducated, you know, or I'm talking about me, you know, or yeah.
Well, if that means that you're that somebody's uneducated, my uneducated self just chased my dog for a quarter of a mile barefoot right before the show. So he got out and I took off barefoot. I'm sure I was getting stares from the neighborhood, but
well, you come from a line of freaks in your family, so that fits.
No.
I sure do.
Were you on concrete? First of all, don't run barefoot.
A little bit of both. So he started out running in grass. Then we traversed over the 4-lane, and then we went down into the park that has a paved. I ran.
So let me picture this. It's going to go ouch, 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 ouch.
Yeah, that probably was how it looked and sounded. But in my mind, I was like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, and I thought, like, here I am. I'm chasing this guy down, and
he runs with his hands out.
Yeah. That might have been me. I might have ran after this guy, but you know, same with like you. I come from a long line. That north wind blows, my gypsy self, I start to move to the next place and carry on to the next spot.
Yeah, I don't see it as a derogatory term because I'm a Rini, and a lot of people consider that being derogatory, but that's kind of a bohemian lifestyle where, you know, you encompass all lifestyles. And
yeah, I agree.
There's always a little bit of mysticism in there and a little, well, I told you so. And, you know, the chocolate Loki.
Speaking of chocolate Loki, why don't you tell those that are listening and watching in what the chocolate Loki is and how it's come into play today?
Well, we were just chit-chatting beforehand. I don't even know what we were chit-chatting about. But I'm an ambassador for the Texas Renaissance Festival, which is the largest Renaissance festival in the United States. And so it's not just a little 6 or 8 week thing. I mean, we do this all year long. I mean, I'm making clothes, I'm making garb. We're doing a backpack drive in a couple of weeks for the kids. You know, and we're always involved in something. And personally, I like to try and keep the old traditions alive because it's almost 50 years old. And a lot of the people who started that Renaissance Festival have passed on, a lot of them in the last couple of years. So chocolate Loki is basically a moonshine, which I learned to make. And everyone was telling me, don't do chocolate because, you know, you make something like cinnamon or strawberry or blueberry. Don't make chocolate, it's too hard. I'm like, nope, cat's out of the bottle. No, or the milk's out of the bottle. Cat's out of the bag. Cat could be in the bottle. I don't know. So I, trial and error and several $100s down the drain. I learned to make chocolate Loki, which is like, as I was telling you, it's like mama's little Hershey bar in your mouth. You just need a little bit.
Yeah.
If there's going to be trial and error, look, I'd rather do it with making my own alcohol than anything. Because the error, what are you going to do? Mess around and get drunk? I mean, okay.
Oh no, it'll curdle and then you'll throw up.
Well then,
And then
you're going to really.
I would think from Texas you would make like a baked bean
barbecue, right?
sauce. Yeah, no. Smoked
It's in the rub. Secret's in the rub.
All right.
Marinated. It's the spices.
So, if I understand correctly, the Texas Renaissance Festival, as you mentioned, it's the oldest, and it's located in Todd Mission, Texas. Is that accurate?
I don't know if it's the oldest. There might be some.
One of them, I'm sure.
It's 49 years old, I think. This
Okay.
year. I was
Just a baby.
not born, so I could not have gone to year one. But I remember year one. So yeah, it's the largest one. I don't know how big it is,
Okay.
but it's freaking big. It's, I can get in like 8 miles just walking around it during one day.
Oh, wow.
It's, and most of the time is spent at the Sea Devil, which is our local bar, so I'm not really walking very far.
It's certainly a longer walk getting back than it is getting there. That's for sure. And if I am reading correctly here, it's 9 weekends in October and November.
It used to be 11, but yeah, they've cut it back because of COVID. And Pirate Weekend was always the biggest one because that's just what we do down here.
Pirate Weekend.
I'm in 2 pirate clans.
What's a pirate's favorite letter?
C.
It is. As most people would say R, but they love the C. You are right, but they're always searching for the X.
Oh, like marks the spot. I thought you
Yeah, so it's not. Yeah, nobody's looking for their own X. That's for sure. They can stay as far away as possible, but when it comes to searching for the treasure, you're looking for the X. Which leads me to go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say what's funny is we do a pirate cruise. It's a 7-day cruise, and we're dressed up like pirates, and we go down to the Caribbean. So I'd never been on a cruise before, and I'm donned in my pirate garb. I have like 7 layers of clothes on, my big old pirate hat with my plumage. And this lady comes up to me and she goes, I just want to tell you, you guys are great. And there was about 130 of us, and we come with our own band. So there was like 150 of us all together. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. And she goes, I was on the phone talking to my friend because I'm going on a cruise by myself the first time. And she was trying to calm my nerves. And she goes, don't worry, it's not like there's pirates. And then 150 of you walk up together.
All right, just then every single pirate in town walks in. That's great.
Pretty much.
Speaking of pirates, we'll pirate a little bit of your time here with telling us about being an author and, some of the Beyond the Fray Publishing. Is that some of it I see behind you there? Some of your own own works? Yeah.
That's shameless plugs. I was, as usually as my life goes, I was starting to see a guy, and you know how the conversation goes. It's like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite cake? What movie do you like? What do you do for fun? And so when he asked me, what do you do for fun? You're weighing this dilemma of like, do I really tell him what I do for fun? Or well, I go talk to dead people a lot. And a lot of times they come talk to me. Or do I say, I paint? Which is, So I said, oh, well, I do the whole paranormal thing, talk to dead people all the time. And he's like, what? And so I was telling him all these adventures, if you want to call it that, of what I've done. And he goes, that's amazing. You really need to write a book about that. I'm like, no, it's not like TV. It's not jump scares. It's, like, ooh, there's a cold spot here. Maybe there's something here. You try and figure it out. I was like, what am I going to do? Call it Victoria Monday's Paranormal Activities, the coloring book? Because there's nothing scary. And I started thinking, hey, that's kind of a good idea. They're paranormal activities. So they're graphics you can color and word searches and games and puzzles and, word searches and things to get you, starting to think.
That's funny.
So
I remember
then-
when we did. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just thinking because when we started Ghost Head Soup and we did the web page, and I created, I used Paint on the computer, and I drew our faces, but they were faceless, just our outlines. And then I found this thing where you can print out and cut it out and then fold it into a dice, so each of our face would be on a die. That you could. Speaking of fun,
so cool.
Right.
I'm rolling with the guys tonight.
You ever play Paranormal Yahtzee? Like,
yeah.
3 nicks again? Damn it.
I'm cursed.
Right. That's the second time this week.
Yeah.
So many poker jokes in there. No.
Well, later I mentioned that we could do a Tarot Blackjack game, right? Since you're in a haunted town out there in Texas, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be a haunted casino somewhere.
Poker with tarot cards? I
never tried that before, but sure. I forget which one of you I was telling now, but when I don't, do the significator is this, and you're crossed by this, and then this is your, no, that's boring. That's lame. I'm sorry. I just shuffle, and then cards. Who's that?
What do you got there?
It's a High Priestess.
The High Priestess.
Oh, I haven't seen that deck.
That's from Robin Wood.
Oh,
Robin Hood.
I
Not to be
haven't-
confused with Robin Hood?
Or Robin Williams. No, but I was telling one of you that when I shuffle, cards come flying out, and I look like a blackjack dealer on crack.
Yeah.
So, because I was reading for a group one time, and the lights went out. I'm like, well, that's not going to stop me, And so cards would flip out. I'm taking this one, I flip over, and I made the lady cry from the reading. It was so accurate. I was like, "She was, how are you doing it?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Right. It's not me. It's the cards.
It's truly, yeah, it is.
There was I forget whom I was listening to or speaking with, and they were talking about that's one of the things that they do when they're shuffling the cards. If a card does pop out or come out of the deck, they feel like it has some significant meaning to it. Like that card is jumping out to you and wants to be part of the reading. So I could totally see that.
Oh no, yeah, because a few weeks ago I was at a thing and I was just doing the cards just mindlessly, and I was talking to a friend of mine and I was thinking about this guy, and all of a sudden this card flipped up and I grabbed it, and the guy walked in the door and I flipped it over and it said The Lovers. I'm like, well, that's going back in the deck. So, that one's not ready yet. It's not made.
Well, this show, as we mentioned, is called the High Priestess, and after the High Priestess here, Dean, I'm going to refer to you just for a second because you've given us an explanation of the other cards we've gone to this point. And a quick recap: we started with the Fool, and then we did the Magician last week, so we're going to the High Priestess this week. Mm-hmm. Dean, maybe in your mind or your deck, maybe tell us a little bit about what you feel of the Priestess, and Victoria, feel free to chime in with what you see on your end too.
I think Victoria it fits it perfectly.
Well, let's.
Great
You guys made me
judgment.
cry.
She just made a move herself out to Texas. Wisdom, Plus, she's a Libra Scorpio. So I can relate to that.
I'm a Libra.
Libra.
I'm a Libra, Aquarius, Leo. So take your chances with that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Also mysterious, and the clouded future, which makes sense back to what she was saying about her premonitions or stuff that she's seen in dreams or something. So yeah, a woman of interest to the seeker or the seeker herself.
Yeah. All right. Well, I could totally see that out of it. From your terms there, Victoria, what would you say? The High Priestess. Give me your take. If that card comes up, what do you normally? And let's just say that it's not reversed or inverted. Let's just say we'll take it for what it is. What would you say is your take?
Well, I don't read reversals, first of all, because they're flying up, flipping around, and there's enough bad news in the world. don't do reversals. But when I see the High Priestess, I always think of it as, and I don't mean this to sound sexist or misogynistic or anything, but she's the woman behind the man going, mm-hmm. Because, you know, you got the magician out there, he's waving his little scroll around, you know, as above, so below, and she's back there going, I've already told you
She said
this.
little scroll.
Well, whatever it is, you know.
Right.
And she's got one of his crystal balls, so there you go.
Yeah. Right. We won't tell Vince that you said that since he was our magician last week. But at any rate,
Okay, you can tell him.
right.
Feel free.
Okay.
Have
I
you
like
ever
it.
used a crystal ball?
I'm beyond the crystal ball. I have one. It's packed. It's probably with my pants. I don't know. I am wearing pants today. Video working from home.
That's great.
The crystal ball is really just scrying, and so after a while, especially living down here in the South, people are like, "What are you doing? Put that thing down." You know, you don't even need this crystal ball anymore. You can just learn to scry without looking. So, yeah.
Now, are you originally from Texas? Are you born from born?
I am born of Texas. I am birthed to the
Texas.
Texas soil. I'm a Houstonian. So I left as quickly as I could. No, just kidding. I moved all over the country because of my job. And then
Sure.
I was like, Texas, North Carolina, Arizona, Texas, Arizona, Texas, 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 Texas. It's like, I'm done. I'm not
It
going
was calling
anywhere.
you. Well, you mentioned too, I saw something with synchronicities with your husband's best friend doing in the real estate something, and
Isn't that wild?
that's awesome. I mean, that happens to me all the time.
To elaborate, because I'm in the dark on this now. So if you want to elaborate what we're talking about here, I'd be glad to hear it.
Okay, this is how life is just falling together like a deck of cards, a tarot deck.
And,
About 9 months ago, I was laid off from my job, so I've applied for close to 1,000 jobs. Can't get anything. I was like, I don't want to move. Yeah, because I worked in television, so I'd either have to go to New York or LA, one of the two. That's the only two places where television really exists anymore. So I came up here to this undisclosed witness protection town, which has a wildfire going on right now. And I participated in a little event they had going on, and I was like, you know, I kind of like this. And the voices were going, you really should move here.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. You know, really, I should. And so let me just look on rent.com. Hey, there's a house. you know, and I was just offered a job like a few days before, and it was totally remote. It was, the house is the right place. And I said, you know, signing that lease, you know.
Yeah.
And then the next day, Beyond the Fray offered me a publishing contract. So it's like boom, 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 boom. And so within 3 weeks, I'm up here again, you know.
Wow.
That's
I'm at
awesome.
close. But I forgot your original. Oh, so the lady who is the landlord for this house, I was moving in Thursday, and it was like 111. It's been really hot up here. And so I was sitting down trying to cool off, and she was, oh, do you know blah, blah, blah. I'm just thinking, well, that name sounds really familiar, but no, I don't think so. She's, oh, she knows you. And so she starts naming off all these places I worked. I'm like, yeah, I worked there.
Creeper.
I know. I was like, how good is that background check here?
Yeah.
I lived in Huntsville for a while, but that's, you know, for school. And so she was, yeah, she knows you from blah, blah, blah. And I started thinking, and I just sat down and I started crying. I literally sat down on the floor and started crying. I was like, that was my husband's best friend. And she was at my wedding 30 years ago. And so she and my husband and another guy were like the Three Musketeers. They were always together. And
That's crazy.
Scott passed in 2011. So, you know, that's like not even on my radar anymore.
Yeah.
You know, his friends. And this is just a little bitty town in the middle of Texas.
Wow. Yeah.
So-
and for everything to come together like that, that's amazing.
Yeah, and we were all from Houston. So I wouldn't expect that here.
It's sort of like they always say, I mean, you know, everybody always feels like when it's happening to them, like the burdens or, you know, the sadness and stuff that we go through, it's like, why me? But then you come to a spot where you're at right now and it's like, now I understand why me. And it was led to this. So that's pretty cool to see all that come together.
New
The
job,
Paranormal
new
Perfect
house.
Storm.
Yeah, new job, new house. You know,
2 new jobs. I'm working 2
new
jobs.
jobs. Yeah, publishing gig.
Right. went from not having any employment to now being having too much to do.
And you're still herding cats, right?
No, they are not my cats. No, I'm actually allergic. I'm allergic to cats. They're my daughters. So I wasn't kidding when I said I would open the door and there would be cats there. The first one was hit by a car and he was going to die. And we're like, well, just bring him in, give him a place to die. He's 13. He didn't die. The other one was in a trash can on trash day in a box taped up. So we got her. The other one during Hurricane Harvey, he was actually drowning almost. He was a little kitten. He'll be here tomorrow. He's my life partner. And so we rescued him. His name's Toby because we found him the day after Toby Hooper died. You know who Toby Hooper was?
No.
He's a famous director.
Okay.
Yeah, Google him. So we found him. And my husband actually knew Toby Hooper.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Okay.
Except I don't want to swear, but he always called him something else. You know, that effer Toby Hooper. And so that's how I knew his name. Oh, that effer Toby Hooper. I just thought it was somebody he went to school
We can
with.
censor fucker out. So
Yeah.
He was known as that fucker Toby Hooper. And I'm like, oh, I don't really know who that is. And so that's, you know, he had like a royal title and first name, last name. You know? So I heard the cat.
The first cat was Crash. The second cat was Trash. And the third one should have been Herbie, but, you know, because of the Hurricane Herbie.
No. He's just not he's a tuxedo. So, you know, yeah, so I thought it was a little kid because it was between squalls. I could hear, Mom, Mom. I'm like, oh my God, there's a kid outside. You know, I go running downststairs and I open the door and it's a cat going.
I actually do. Yeah, I do a pretty good cat.
Let's hear
Yeah.
it.
All right, now I might need practice.
Right on the spot. That actually is really good.
That's amazing.
Right, I was shocked. I was not expecting that, Dean.
I had a girlfriend and I had a dog at the time, and she worked at the veterinarian, and she was going to go in there and get the
Rabies
shots or something. And I kept doing this cat noise, and I'm following her around, and she's going into each room and looking and doing. I'm like, "What are you looking for?" She's like, "I'm looking for that damn cat." And I'm like, "What cat?" She goes, "The one that's meowing." I go, "Oh, that's me." She's like, "Shut up." She didn't believe me, and I had to do it for her. She's like, "Oh my God, I was looking all over the place for it." I'm like, "I was wondering what you were doing."
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to be when I grew up was a Foley artist, and then they invented the computer. So my youth, my childhood was spent learning to make noises, and especially animal sounds. And so, you know, I could be a CNC for the barnyard. So we were on a hot air balloon and we were drifting over the Sonoran Desert, and it was my husband and my daughter and I, and then a whole bunch of people from Britain, you know, and there was, oh, look up there, there's a tumbleweed, you know, we're like, oh my God. So I'm leaning over. Don't look at me. Like, there's a cow. So I'm leaning over the basket going,
all right, you got to send me some clips. So when I upload this to YouTube, I'll put one of those speak and says in there, and then we can add your voice there.
You want to hear my chicken?
Yeah.
Okay, well, do you speak chicken? Because
Of course.
Do you really?
I grew up on a farm. I can speak chicken.
I speak
I'll
rooster.
answer you.
I speak rooster.
Cockadoodle.
Hold on, let's pause the show. Laura Redmond says, "Oh my God, I love her."
I still have packing to do if you want to help. Come on. I'm in a witness protection. Oh,
we're totally not getting away from chicken. I want to speak this chicken with you here.
okay. Well, the grandchild's duty was always to go feed the chicken, you know, because we'd go to the farm. So we'd go out there and feed the chicken, and then at lunch we would have chicken. I'm like, oh no, is that George? Did I just feed you this morning? So okay, don't look, because this is just regular. Oh, my nose is itching. So this is how you know it's good. Okay. Okay. The cow says, "Oh." Anyway,
Yeah.
Chicken this is a chicken walking around the chicken yard.
Yeah, I'm with you. I follow.
Okay.
And then when they lay an egg,
That's it. The chicken that just laid the egg.
oh, this is great.
This is the best thing ever.
It's funny you say that because I grew up on a farm, right? We had chickens and everything in between there too. But I
had a
always
baby
sit
goat.
around. Did you? We still got baby goats. I love goats, man. Right. But we used to like. I now still sit around when people are.
We're not paranormal anymore. We're just farmers, man. We're farmers on a podcast right now.
Right. All I can see is this little toy where you pull the crank arm down. The cow says. Right.
So my friend and I were on a couple of weeks ago. We were driving up here, and it is the law of the land that when you pass an animal on a road trip, you have to make the sound of that animal, right? So goats, we're passing cows and horses, and then we get to these llamas, and we look at each other and we're like, llama?
Yeah, spit on each other.
Like, what sound does a llama make?
Right.
Sorry, Laura. She hates that.
Listen, I'll tell you, most podcasts when they get out about paranormal, they're talking about Parker Brothers Ouija board. We're talking about Parker Brothers C&C here. This is even better. Same manufacturer, but
it's the demon. Those speak and says, what would the devil say? Speaks in tongue.
It had the string, you could pop the string while it was going, the old ones, and it would jump tracks, and you'd be on the chicken and it would go, He was speaking in tongues.
Hey, we should invent something right now. We could do like pull the thing and it says a spell.
Backwards masking C&C.
I do have an idea for a candy company, but I can't say it because of copyright infringement or anything. Somebody might steal my idea because it's so freaking good.
But if you say it now, it's dated.
If you say it here, it's recorded and copywritten right here for you.
It's dated. It's live.
Oh, okay.
Don't do it because somebody will steal it. Because it's a race to the patent.
Right.
Well, you can't. Okay, I actually spoke to a lawyer, and you can't copyright the name or the idea, but you can copyright the recipe to make the chocolate.
No, it's chocolate again. It's always chocolate.
Yeah, it gets deep into the religious aspect, so I don't want to offend anybody. But it would
no
be
worries.
awesome.
We'll just keep our eye out for it when it is released. That's for sure.
Hey, for Catholics, you could do a chocolate rosary, and then every time you pray, you get to eat one of the beads.
Beads?
I'm seeing a whole line with peanuts. And
Have you tried the holy water? Woo!
Okay, I can tell you because it's really good and it's really funny if you want. And if they steal it, they steal it because what the heck? If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. So one of my favorite things, if you want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one of my favorite things about Easter were always the hollow chocolate Easter bunnies. Because we would bite their ears off and put peanut butter in them and then stick them in the freezer. And then we'd eat them later. And I thought, wouldn't it be great for people who are not religious, and I don't mean any offense to anyone who is, to get like a little hollow Jesus, and the name of you mean to stop?
Carry on. This is great.
Nope. I just see the copyrights go crazy right now.
Right.
But it would be called Sweet Jesus. And so the name of the company was going to be Immaculate Confection. So you could have little subsidiaries of Sweet Jesus. You could have the little treasure chest with mints. It would be the Three Wise Mints. So you'd have peppermint and spearmint and some other mint.
So I see your name on the local marquee at the comedy club. Victoria Mundae performing
Hey.
here live.
Yeah. Well, no, it gets better.
But wait, there's more.
Well, there's also Mother Mary. You know, you got them all.
I didn't think about that. So, any good company wants to diversify because you don't put all your eggs in one basket. We're back to the farm again, right? You
And
want
it's
to
Easter.
diversify. Ding, ding, ding. So I'm thinking bath bombs, bath things, And so instead of having a rubber duck, why don't you have a little Jesus that walks on the water? You could do that. Why, thank you. So then my mind's going. It's racing. I'm like, okay. Next, we're going to do bath soaps. It's going to come like in a little bucket or something. And it's going to be a John the Baptist head, Sorry. He goes on gray, kind of exfoliates, and you wash away your sins.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
I'll order a case of that.
Can you tell I work in marketing?
That's great.
So, yeah, that's coming.
All right.
There you go. Can't wait.
All you really need is a 3D printer. A 3D printer and just a recipe for chocolate then.
Well, you were doing the British accent before. Can you do the rest of the show as Yvette Fielding?
What's I doing?
Is there any Astro Beans here today? You're familiar with the show, Most Haunted, right?
No, I don't watch TV.
You don't?
The cobbler's kids have no shoes, Dean. Of course they don't watch TV.
I worked in TV. No, I don't watch
The last thing she wants to do is come home and watch it.
I make TV.
I worked in a family bakery I came home and ate coffee cake. I mean, come on.
Well, that's different.
And eclairs and brownies and elephant ears and, well, never mind.
That's one thing, maybe what you do for work, you keep separate, except if you work in food. I've never seen a butcher go hungry a day in my life.
Well, I delivered wedding cakes. I just never took it home with me.
Smart man.
Whoops, I'm slick.
Hey, I was walking with one down this hallway, and this one lady tried to do that with the cake. And I'm like, whoa.
Oh, no.
Because I took her seriously. It's like my reaction was to move, and I was like, But good thing it was only a 3-tier, so I was good.
Only a 3-tier. For my next wedding. Anyway, I'm sure you were talking. No. My daughter is very funny. She tries to be serious. She's an only child, so she's very, she's a Sagittarius, serious all the time.
So's my son. Yep.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Alpha child, number 1, serious. And she got a part in Steel Magnolias. And I said, oh, that's wonderful, because I'm trying to get her to break out of her shell. And she goes, yeah, it's because I can do a Southern accent. I'm like, really? She goes, do you want to hear it? And so she did it. I was like, this is like Downton Abbey. That's British. If you want a Southern accent, just drop the G and only say the important letters. Just talk like me,
Which is interesting because I don't feel like you have a Southern accent, at least not when you're talking to Dean and I. I don't know.
Give me a couple beers. No.
Right. Then again, in Illinois, anybody south of I-80 has a Southern accent, so I completely understand. I have family from Ohio that have a Southern accent. I'm like, how do you have a Southern accent? You're further north than I am.
South Ohio? Yeah. When she was little, she how mothers are always with their children. They understand, because it's that mother-daughter-child bond or whatever. I could understand her clearly, but when my husband came home, my husband.
Your husband?
That's back to that lineage you were talking about before, right?
Hey, my dad's from Arkansas.
Oh, and I love them all.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful state.
My dad and my uncle, same person.
Yeah.
Anyway, she told him one day, Daddy, I want a red bed. And he goes, what does she want? I want a red bed. He's like, What does she want? I was like, she wants a red bed. It's like,
Why didn't you just say so?
He goes, but those were multi-syllable words. You know? Red bed. Riot bed. So.
Hey, it happens. That's
and
okay.
to say, no, bless her heart. Bless your heart. You know, that was always a thing.
When, because his family was from, they're Mennonites and they were from Ohio. So when we went to go visit, I make sure she knew the phrases, Lord of mercy. I want a riot bed.
That's great.
It sounds like a horror movie, Red Bed.
Could be, yeah.
Red Bed. Red Bed.
Right. Speaking of
And I'm not even
paranormal,
drinking.
right.
We're drinking soda. This is what sugar does to us.
Water. No.
Okay. Hey, I'm the only one. And I don't even drink, and I got moonshine still sitting next to me. That's
willpower.
yeah, that is willpower, but that's all right.
That was clear though.
Yeah, it's old smoky moonshine. Oh boy, it's
gone.
yeah.
There it is.
I'm also a magician too, but yeah, it's old smoky moonshine. It's been cracked in a couple sips out of it, but white lightning is what they call it, or white lightning. They dropped the G. You know, it's the important word letters. That's
Well, it's because it's hot. We only say the important letters. We don't need them all.
Hey, tell me a little bit about Wyldwood Paranormal. You guys still around? Still doing anything with that, or?
It's just me now.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I told you I have a Leo descendant. You know.
Yeah.
No, my whole point for starting that was people who are intuitive, people who hear the voices, people who are like me, you know, who don't do the jump scares, and we can go in these places and get full dialogues and stories and everything. It was to give validation and give voices to those who no longer are able to speak in this realm, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
But then so many people I would team up with started, I need black salt or brick dust or something. I'm like, what? You don't need it. Where's my bay leaf and my sage? I'm like, no, you don't need that. That's so 14th century. Let's move it up to at least the 17th century. I'm still looking.
Yeah, that's still Hollywood. Well, I like it though, giving voice to the voiceless. As it were mentioned there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the wildest thing Wyldwood ever turned up? As far as paranormal, you don't even have to be evidence, just something that you recall, saying, "Hey, this is just crazy." I mean, I can't. You have a hard time topping the fact that you had ET as a friend growing up, but yeah. From your standpoint, Wyldwood Paranormal in those days, what do you think?
The wildest thing? If you go to my Twitter page, there's a really awesome EVP. What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing, T?
I was gonna try to do the ET phone home. Can you touch my finger?
Oh yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, I've never seen that movie.
What do we need? So like Reese's or Skittles or something? I don't know what he ate. M&Ms, something along those
Taste
lines.
the rainbow. I don't know.
Reese's.
Oh, right.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, Twitter. You got a EVP. I'm logging into Twitter. I'm going to see if I can.
Oh yeah, it's the it's awesome because I'm selfish. I'll say it. I'm selfish, and I got a new digital recorder. I bought a new digital recorder, and I'm fairly tall. And when I was probably had my hand up 6 feet in the air. And I was at the hanging judge's tree because, that's all we had to do is to go to this little haunted town and like, oh, let's go hang out in the hanging judge. Go hang out in this board. So I was out there and there's a guy I was kind of auditioning, I guess you could say. But he didn't make the cut. He was doing the take my energy. I'm like, no, you don't ever, never ever.
I like that term. You didn't make the cut.
Didn't make it. But anyway, so I'm holding it up and I would do the ghost tours out there at that time. And you can clearly hear there are 3 EVPs. The first one and the third one are the same. I don't know. And the middle one sounds like a very Southern man from like the 1930s saying the law. And if you think about it, I was on the judge's steps of his house at the tree, and it's the South. Not everything was justified.
Sure.
Probably most things were not justified or recorded or documented, and I could easily see some man being lynched there. So.
Are you by the tree? Can you knock on something?
Are you haunting the tree?
I can hear the other people. Come touch this green light. Everybody has walked away from me. I don't fear you. You don't scare. As a matter of fact, I invite you. Come see me. Touch me. Anything. Stay away from the girls. Come on to me. Nah, I'm not. It just feels different now.
They just wanted to have a hanging because that's what they did then. They're like, hey, look, we need something to do on a Friday. We're going to hang somebody.
Yeah, wrong person. But I was there about a year ago with some friends, and I was letting them listen to the EVP, and the girl goes, look at my picture I took a few weeks ago, and she was there too. And she took a picture by the tree, and there were two men that translucent, you could see straight through them. And they looked like they might have been, farm workers from the 1930s. They were in that type of clothing. So it would fit perfectly.
And where did you say the location was again? I know you said it was in the South, and it was, I'm actually looking at it on Twitter.
Old Town Spring, which is
Okay.
Near the big airport. Oh, I guess we don't call it that anymore. I don't know what it's called anymore. Bush International or something, or the big airport. We got the big one and the little one.
Yeah, I'm enthralled. I'm listening to it in my ear while you're going.
Oh, you can hear it?
I can hear it. Yeah. So I can hear somebody ask, what's your name? Or, right before it, and then somebody says the law. The voices. Yeah, that's that one I can hear. Okay, Dean's pulled up a map here. I love Texas, by the way.
I do too.
Been a long time since, well, not that long, maybe 3 years since I've been there, but spent a lot of time down in Farmers Branch, Dallas area.
Oh yeah.
And
That may or may not be where I'm at.
oh, well, may or may not, right? If you are in witness protection, I would stay in witness protection in Farmers Branch. I liked it.
all
go
the
ahead,
way
Dean.
down here to Woodlands and Old Town Spring. Is that where we're talking?
Yeah. Yeah, I just moved from the Woodlands. I can say that safely now. I'm no longer
All right, far enough away now.
5 hours.
This is where the hanging
Ish.
entry is, the Old Town Spring.
Yeah. It's right off Gentry Street. There's a White House called Doring Court, and that's Judge Doring's house. And the story goes that, which is not true because I researched it and I found his daughter was still alive. But the story is that his daughter died. He was very depressed. He started drinking moonshine, back to the moonshine, in the 1930s, which contained ergot, which is, LSD basically.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Which
so he
are
started
else?
seeing
Okay.
things. Yeah, and so exactly. So he just started hanging people who looked guilty, and that's code in the South.
Yeah. Well,
You're breathing. You look guilty.
If it weighs more than a duck and it floats, it's a witch. That's
Yeah.
Burner.
All right. So you bring up a good point here, though, because, and I know Dean's mentioned this a time or two with me as he's scrolling around there and playing. How much of what you've encountered and come across in the paranormal is actual fact versus story? You know, in your opinion, like, you know, everybody's got the story that they tell and what leads to the haunting, but you just mentioned it. You did your own research and found that this is the fact here. What do you find, in your opinion? How, you know, if you had to put a percentage on it, what would you say is actual versus BS? Okay.
Go ahead. Line two.
Yeah.
Well, I have a degree in fine arts, so I don't do math.
Yeah.
I did take math for fine arts major.
86% statistics are made up on the spot anyway, so.
So I do feel there's a grain of truth in everything. Good, bad, and ugly. Like, you know, we were talking yesterday about the flood and Noah, and I was like, well, that's the Younger Dryas impact event. You know that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
That's why all the cultures around were elevating and getting away from the flood.
Chocolate Noah.
No, that goes back to the bath bomb. Noah's got to be in the bath bomb. He's going to float in the ark with Jesus. That's.
Oh. Now, okay, here's my question. Did Noah collect animals or did he collect DNA samples?
In my opinion, I would say DNA samples is probably easier, because if you're going to fit it into an ark, you're never going to fit and is the ark really a boat, or is the ark just a storage facility that was able to float? Well, which would be a boat, but I say DNA samples. That's my take.
Yeah, because how can you get the penguins and, you know, all those animals everywhere?
You wouldn't be able to.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
The husband. I'll be here all night, folks.
Tip the waiters.
Yeah. But, you know, back to the same thing, too. I know Dean, the reason I mentioned it is Dean had, where was it that you were talking about, Dean, that, you know, they told a bunch of stories, but from your research, you couldn't find anything that
St.
actually...
Albans.
Yeah, St. Albans. There you
St.
go.
Albans. It was just everything they said is like, well, we can't prove it because we don't have any stories about it. But this is what people say. I was like, what?
Well, that's a part of culture. You need to, you know, because we're going to go off the grid sooner or later. You know, we are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's through the storytellers that you're going to keep these oral traditions alive. So if it makes a good story, it makes a good story. But I would say the majority of it is misconstrued. For example,
The Game of Telephone.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We were at an event, my friend and I, not too long ago, and I didn't stay with the group because, you know, she and I are off over here whispering, doing our own things. And so we're like, okay, what kind of energy do you feel in here? Do you picking up any names? And she spout out a name. I'm like, okay. It's like, I see 3 little girls. And she goes, okay, well, which one is that? And I'm like, well, that's the middle girl. And she's like, yeah, that's what I'm seeing too. And so when we rejoined the group, there was a woman who was talking to some sort of ITC device with little lights and stuff. I'm like, do you really think if there is any paranormal activity, it's going to be in this little ITC device? Or is it in the room? I mean, if I was, you know, there, I would be kind of insulted because she was talking to this little light. And I'd talk to the room because this is where they're going to be at. And so we would say, you know, I'm picking up on this name. I'm picking up on this little girl. I'm picking up on this. Happened over here. And they're like, mm-hmm. It's like, well, it didn't fit the story, you know. And so she leans over to the K2 and she goes, did you go to Second Baptist? And I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I've got to go. You know? Like, I'm not sure it's somebody you knew, sweetheart, but you know, it's like a girl house. I mean,
right. Oh, and that's I always get a kick out of that too. Like you said, talking right into the K2 or the ITC box or something. You know, great. They're awesome for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, Mark, when we first brought the Avalis 3 in and we put it on the podium and he leans down, he goes, hello.
I'm in here.
Which, you know, a majority of spirits that we have been trying to make contact with wouldn't even know what the hell it was in the first place, let alone to try to communicate into it or make it turn on or a light flash. Like, the hell are you thinking? This was not even around back when they were around.
And we have video to support that. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, we have fun with them, but you know, you got to take it with a grain of salt. The only thing I have that's almost validation, and I think it's again is just synchronicity. And who's to say I wasn't putting this energy out because of the events? But after my father died, everyone went back to the KC Hall, you know, for the reception or whatever they call it. Not me, you know, I'm the tie-dyed sheep of the family. I take the ovulus and, you know, I go back with my friend to the grave. And so I turned on and said, you know, hey, Daddy. And it immediately said immersion. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, you just got buried.
Mm-hmm.
And then it said bridge completion. I was like, okay, I'm turning this off. I think we crossed the bridge. Okay.
Right.
And thrown it out the window.
Yeah. It's like, what the heck, you know? So.
Yeah, but synchronicities, man, that stuff is happening to me all the time. One of the things, like the triple digits, the 444s, I always think is something to watch out for. It's like warning or something.
Well, those are supposed to be your angel numbers.
It could be angel. Yeah, there's different things. But so this girl I used to date when I was 16, I was thinking about her, you know, something in my mind. And then all of a sudden she joins Facebook and sends me a friend request. So 11-11-11 was big for me too. The triple, you know, the 11-11-11. So the first time that I spoke to her was on 11-11-11. I swear. And then I bought this phone. I had, you remember the old slider phones?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I read about them in history. Yeah.
Yeah, in history, yeah. So I bought one off of this website called eBay, and I found one that replaced my other one.
Uh-huh.
And I've had it for a few months. And then when I was talking to her, it was like at 4:44 in the morning, the alarm goes off on this phone. And I'm like, 4:44? And I could hear her on the other line, she's like, throw it out the window. You know? And I couldn't find the alarm. I had to go through like deep down into the far off realms of this phone to try to find this alarm. I couldn't figure it out. Finally, I was just like, oh, I finally found it just to get rid of the 444 alarm. But all the times to set an alarm, 4:44 in the morning, 11-11-11. So it was just like those synchronicities were happening there. I was like, that's pretty wild stuff, man.
Once you start paying attention to them, they're everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, you know, everywhere I turned that weekend I came up to visit, boom, there was a sign. There was, oh, I was just thinking of that. There it is.
Yeah.
You know,
especially when you tell somebody else and they start to notice it too. I remember Tim and I were in the lab and he had a recorder and he's videoing and he picks up his recorder, he shines on it and he stops the recorder. It's at 2 hours, 22 minutes and 22 seconds. And he goes, damn you, Dean.
that's my number, you know, 22. Yep. My birthday's this 22nd. My house number in the Woodlands was 22.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's always 22. So.
Yep.
Season 2, episode 2.
So there's a concept in psychology called the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon, and it's pretty much what you guys are describing. The same thing. It's kind of like when you purchase a new car and you start seeing that car everywhere. You know, you never noticed it before, but now you're like, man, my car is everywhere. So it's you know, it's the idea that there's an attentional awakening that follows those things around. So like you mentioned, once you see it, you're going to start to see it a little bit.
Yellow bird.
Yellow bird. Yes. Way to harken back to one of our old episodes. Victoria, go ahead. You've got a question.
And I probably already know the answer because you kind of had the ET experience. But I always ask people, if you had to pick one, would you go to the universe or would you go down into the depths of the ocean and see the stuff down there?
Ooh. Well, that's a good question. One of my past lives, I died on the Titanic, and I am terrified of water.
No.
So
See, I'm terrified of seeing things underwater that shouldn't be there. It's like a panic attack. Like sunken ships I can watch in the encyclopedia. Remember those old books with the encyclopedia things? But when I look and see the pictures of stuff underwater, I kind of have a panic attack in a sense because it doesn't belong there. Mm-hmm. But I'm so intrigued about it. You know, so fascinated about, I don't know, it's just kind of freaky.
Well, octopi are definitely space aliens. I mean, there's just no way around that one.
Right? They all look like aliens.
Well, I mean, they're so smart, you know.
They sure are.
Yeah. So, I mean, why wouldn't they be like, oh, they're like the great aliens, but they're underwater, you know?
There you go.
Mm-hmm. My next book after my next book was going to be on the hollowed earth. So chocolate
octopus in each they each got a drink in each of their little arms there.
Actually, when you bite in, they just spray more chocolate out.
Or there you go.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about was a raspberry filled Jesus, you know, but then you have the little stigmata, you know, the raspberry. You could like sprinkle it on your ice cream.
Love it. Nailed it. That's
nailed it. Freaking Nick.
It can't take me anywhere. Speaking of the deep, vast ocean, this one's been piquing my interest as of late. Have you heard of the deep scattering layer?
Oh no, I haven't.
No.
Tell me more.
Okay, so the deep scattering layer is sometimes referred to as the sound scattering layer, but basically it's for the longest time they thought it was the base of the ocean floor. Until recently, they actually discovered that it's a false bottom of the ocean floor, and all it is just fish that create sonar back and forth to each other, and when you get down far enough, these fish will scatter, and then there's way more vast ocean underneath of it. So for years, up until recently, like I mentioned, they thought that this was the actual floor of the ocean and didn't know it went down deeper. And now they've gotten down further. I've been watching videos on it lately, and it just scares the shit out of me because I'm like, well, now here I think I've gotten all the way down, and all I've reached is just a layer of fish that just open up to a vast nothingness underneath of it that could be space below. Who the hell knows?
Oh, there is.
This is how a fish sounds. Yeah.
Doesn't make any sound. Well, one of my regressions I did, I asked about like what's under the ice caps. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff down there. So
yeah.
I'm not gonna say about it in her book, but
as above, so below, I suppose. If it's vastness up above, there's vastness down below.
There is. I think like you'll find like a whole civilization that's maybe not alive, but down there's caverns and stuff.
So it sounds like there's more to explore on Earth than there is on Mars that we're trying to accomplish here.
Look, to my opinion, why go and explore Mars when we don't even know what the hell we've got here first?
Okay, Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
The moon is hollow.
All right.
Yeah, the moon is hollow.
The moon's hollow. So when Matthew becomes governor, are y'all going to move down to Texas? Oh, that sounded very southern.
Yeah, y'all.
Y'all going to come on down?
Actually, I wouldn't mind visiting. As far as living there, of course, you got to stay longer to know and appreciate. But of course, I got to go because ribs. And so ribs and more ribs. But I started watching that Texas 6 football game. I thought that was cool. The high school game. I would love to see one of those football games. Texas 6 is about the 6-man team.
Okay.
Documentary. Yeah, it's a documentary in. God, I can't remember.
I was just crinkling my nose at football.
Oh, sorry.
I'm a baseball girl.
Sports, boo.
Baseball. Yeah. No, actually, I've never seen a high school football game. So I went to a performing and visual arts school. So, right then I derailed. I was like over there.
Right. That's funny because people always ask me how I learned how to, do palm reading and everything. And I tell them I grew up on the farm. So, I walked a lot in the pasture and a lot of it was reflection. But in the pasture, you'll find you've got a lot of cows. So while 50% might have been reflection, the other 50% was bullshit. So, that's it. Found them both out there. Speaking of finding things out there, I know I asked you at the beginning before we were live if you did read tarot cards.
I do.
Would you mind doing it live on the show?
Sure. What you want?
Right. What do we want? Well, something snappy, something quick.
Something snappy.
Something quick. Dean, do you want to have a reading for yourself or one for me? What do you want to do? I know Dean doesn't get readings.
Oh God, we got something going on here. Let's see. Laura says, yes, can she be a weekly guest during 20 minutes or so of commentary?
Nothing going on, so sure.
All right. Let's just bring it on in.
What's the girl on American Pickers? Daniel? You could be our Daniel.
Okay. Now about that. American Pickers. Or Paranormal Pickers.
Yeah.
Wait, what's your show?
Paranormal Pickers.
Okay. I got really excited when I saw the name of your show. Hands to gods I do not believe in. All of them. I was going to go buy a banjo because I want to play the banjo. And I was like, this is exciting. Hey, look, there's Nathan Keith.
Doing, 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 doing.
The mouth harp is underrated.
That's right. I have one somewhere.
Do you play the bottle too, the jug?
Of course.
Hey.
While you're pulling those tarot cards, I did want to show you one of the books that I like, The Earth Signs by Grey Wolf.
Oh, I've seen that.
And it's pretty cool. So in here, your moon is the harvest moon. I don't know if you can see that. And your moon totem is the coyote.
Oh, because of the Libra thing, or
no? It has nothing to do with the horoscope signs. It's
okay.
Earth. It's moon. It's Earth signs. It's more native than anything.
I actually identify with squirrels, so
it's a coyote, and the reason why it says coyote is a trickster. He is also a survivor under many, many adverse conditions, and the person born of this time is beginning to grow toward the wisdom of the North, a wisdom that many people would aspire to. Let's see. You find coyote living downtown Los Angeles, drinking from the Los Angeles River. You find coyote living in the city of Denver, not up in the mountains. You just find them everywhere. So they're pretty much, they can go anywhere and adapt to, basically, is what that's saying.
Okay. Oh.
That's what it says.
Okay. When I shuffle, I tell you they fly out, and 3 of them just flew out. And spirit, voice, whatever you want to call it, the intuition, the collective, told me to shuffle until I got 3. 3 of them fell out.
Okay. So we each get a card. One card represents each of us.
No, she's probably already had. Yeah.
This is yours.
Oh, this is mine?
You, Dean. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. So the first card. How does this work?
I see it. The lady.
The lady, number 3. Okay.
I'm afraid already.
Are you married?
Nope.
Okay.
Nor do I want to be.
Not yet.
I was.
Is there someone?
There's always
yes or no?
There's always someone.
Well, it's saying take a rest. Take a rest.
Take a risk?
Rest.
Oh,
yeah.
Because you're connected as above, so below by the world tree.
Aha.
I love it. The spirit tree.
Whomever it is, if you're focusing or manifesting or thinking about her while you're in the bubble bath or whatever it is you do, maybe that's me. I have a very small car. I have a little sports car, and so
I do make bubbles in the water. But anyway,
to determine the size of my cargo that I could carry, we put it in the bathtub. If it fits in the tub, it'll fit in my car. So
that's brilliant.
Yeah, well.
So I haven't got left behind.
Yeah, they're coming tomorrow. Actually, yeah, it was okay.
So
anyway,
a lady, the rest, and a tree. So what did the wooden tree do? Oh, geez.
No, just keep going.
That's gonna be my first song. Because I've always lived in apartments, and I was really pissed off at the neighbors, and I said, this is a good time to learn the banjo. But now I'm here by myself,
Now you can really pick away.
So, Black Sabbath at max volume works all the time too.
Well, there's a I don't not listen to classical or my head. I was at work one time, and I had my little earbuds in, but they weren't plugged into anything, and I was just sitting there. And this guy comes up and he goes, "My God, what are you listening to?" And I'm like, "Oh, my head." I have a song going on.
I did the same thing too at work. I was listening to paranormal ghost hunting evidence on my recorder, but my plug wasn't all the way in. I'm listening, and everyone's looking at me, and then I go, "Oh man, good thing I didn't say, any bad words." But you hear me talking, people are looking around. So I was reviewing evidence at work. So.
Oh, what's going on with you there? Oh no!
Oh no!
Is this for Nick?
Yeah.
It must be
Wait,
barefooted. Must be barefooted.
Everything you're going to tell me is going to make sense. Trust me.
Well, it's the Green Man. You can't get any more barefooted than the Green Man.
There you go.
I think he is the equivalent of the Fool. So you're starting a new journey. Oh wait. Let me think. Yeah, this is astrologically. This is the right time. Last week was when you're supposed to go. Screw this. I'm out, and you start on new journeys. Oh, when I moved. But you got a lot of emotions going on. So here you have, I worked in TV for so long. You think I would know.
Exit stage left. Nostalgia.
Look at the tower. Can you see the tower? The tower is still perfect.
Yep.
So you're remembering this event or this notion or this thought or these people or this relationship or the dog you were chasing. Maybe I hope you got your dog.
Oh, I did.
Dog. Okay. You're remembering something perfect, and that's what hindsight does. It makes things more perfect. Like my marriage was perfect. We all know it wasn't, but but it was a long time ago, and it was pretty damn good. And then here you have the Five of Cups, which is you're focusing on the cups that are empty that are in front of you, not realizing you still have two other cups. So you have something good that's going on for you. Is any of this making sense?
Absolutely. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're just saying that now.
No. So I'll give you the insight as to what it is. Yesterday I transitioned. I'm moving to a new job myself. I don't know what job that's going to be yet. I'm focusing on what I have at my house, my family, and everything, and because for the last 2 years or so, I've worked from home, and it's strengthened my family. So I'm focusing on the strength of my family and the nostalgia there, and just trying to figure out which journey I'm going into next. So
look at that, the badger.
Yep.
You know the badger, right? He'll rip your face off if you.
Honey badger don't care.
So it's suggesting that whatever you go into in the future,
male stripper.
No.
I gotta make money, team.
Magic Mike 4.
Right.
Magic.
I was really hoping Magic Mike 3 was going to be in 3D, but
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Speaking of that, it always reminds me of a Matthew McConaughey story, right? So.
Oh, geez.
Oh, intuition. We're gonna go with it.
Yeah, go with the voices are strong, and I mean this in all seriousness. The voices are strong right now. So if you're hearing voices, it's probably the collective going, "Hey." It's a funny story. I won't tell you who. On Edge of the Rabbit Hole, we were interviewing someone who was very esoteric, and he was speaking, the SAT words, and I'm like, I'm just agreeing with him. And loud and clear, I heard someone in my ear go, he does shrooms. So I start laughing. So we'll have to cue it up and send it to you, but I think this person was out there, you know. Okay, anyway, you were saying. I'm sorry.
No, but thank you for that, because everything that you did, you went there, totally makes sense to me on where I'm at and the journey that I'm going through in my life right now. So that was what at the beginning of the show. I put it out there that if you did do a reading, that's what I wanted the answer to, was what was going on now. So nailed it.
Here, Nick, let me give you a reading.
Yes, I want to read.
Dean, do it. I would love one, Dean.
You got to be in a state. I'm not in that state. To
Okay,
meditate,
that's completely fair. I will.
Be.
Right, I will allow that. So the Matthew McConaughey story that I had, it is about Magic Mike, right? And so it goes in, it goes into the cast and the characters. You know, they did part of the original filming of Magic Mike on an island, and they were out there for quite some time, and there was no facilities.
This is that comedian guy, right?
Yeah, you've heard it.
Fluffy.
Yeah, Fluffy. That's my favorite thing that he says. Now, Victoria, if you haven't heard this is, so they're talking about they're out on the island, they're filming, and there's no facilities to use the restroom. Well, prior to going out there, they had one of the running gags that they had was they had male figure toys, and some of them were rather large, that they would have for the show, right? So this guy went to go use the restroom, well, what was really a bush out on the island at one point in time. And he sees a shadow of somebody else using the restroom, peeing out there. And he thinks that it's somebody playing a joke on him because they've got that longness just waving around. And he's like, so I thought it was somebody playing a joke. And then I look over and all I hear is McConaughey going, all right. And he's like, no toy, no nothing with the guy. And I'm like, that's perfect. That describes Matthew McConaughey in my mind 100% right there. Which is why I'd move to Texas. I think I'd fit right in with Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, God.
No, the relaxation, Dean. Jeez, not like that.
He's actually done a lot. There was the recent shooting in Uvalde with all the little kids that were shot. Anyway, he's from Uvalde, and he has been out there, he and his wife, consoling the families. Even the governor didn't attend the services, staying away from that.
Sure.
But he and his wife have been out there, with the families, trying to, make some sense out of this. So
I didn't realize he was from there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Uvalde's a little town, so anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's a sad situation, and good to know that he's. Were you being serious when you said he was running for governor?
It's not official yet, but there is a lot of talk.
Awesome.
So I think he would be a fantastic governor.
Sure. Hey, if Arnold can do it, anybody can.
If Reagan can do it, anybody can.
This is true.
It's not a tumor. That's my impression.
Okay.
The Arnold says. Get to the chopper. Get down now. I think that is his mating call. Like if you ever ran into him, be like, ow. Then he wouldn't know what to do. Hey, fantastic. Dean, what do you think? What do you think, man?
What do you think, man?
What do you think, man?
About your Arnold? I think your Arnold's great.
No, not about Arnold. I want to ask Victoria's impression, not impression of Arnold. What is your impression or thoughts on, we hit on this at the beginning of our first one, Nostradamus, right?
Nostradamus.
Nostradamus is some may call him. You think it's a bunch of BS? You think he's got some stuff together? What are your overall thoughts on Nostradamus?
I think people can craft messages to any situation. So I don't really believe some of the things he said. Now, there's been other people. Yeah, definitely. But like, Nostradamus predicted the Twin Towers. I worked in a bookstore, and we're all running to the bookstore looking like, this doesn't make any sense. But, you know, if you think about it this way, it does make sense. So, no, I'm sorry.
Right. Well, maybe he was the ITC of his time. You know, he just spouted off random words in a random word generator, and people were like, "Oh my God, this is my dead husband talking to me," or something. You know, could have been. Okay. I don't know.
My dead husband still shows up all the time. He showed up a few weeks ago. So
yep.
He hit the table. Yeah, I forgot to mention. I'm sorry. I forgot to mention to a friend of mine who was spending the night that, you know, because the house I was living in was very active, and
great.
It doesn't bother me anymore. You know, the bed shakes. And so I go to wake her up the next morning. She's, "You didn't tell me your bed shakes all night." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's Scott. He shows up when there's somebody different in the bed."
Right, about that.
Yeah, I saw one of your comments on a page where it says, "Is your partner or spouse into the paranormal as well?" And your response was, "Well, he has been since he died." I thought
right, vastly into the paranormal.
That's classic stuff.
Yeah, he actually showed up for 3 weeks. He was in Houston, I was in Arizona. We were separated and everything and divorced, and, you know, he's still my husband, but we're divorced. For 3 weeks, he showed up in my bedroom every night. I was like, "Oh my God, what are you doing here?" Life goes on. And I just thought it was me working through all my anger and that about him. He didn't show up one day, and the next morning, I get a phone call from my brother-in-law. He's like, "You need to call me." So I called him. I said, "What happened? What's going on?" And he's like, "Scott died." And so I'm like, "Oh." So when I go to do the Social Security thing for my daughter, I found out he had died 3 weeks earlier, and no one had found his body. So the whole time he was in his apartment,
He's trying to get your attention, yeah.
Yeah. So he was hanging out with me in Arizona. I'm thinking the least you could do is create a cold spot because it was really hot. Yeah.
You know, I really like the fact that you've got a good sense of humor about the entire thing too, though. Like, you know, you take the paranormal seriously and all the things that go around with it seriously, but at the same time, you can be lighthearted about it too. There's no, you know, it's not a strict, rigid type deal. I like. No,
there was one night we were investigating Yorktown Memorial Hospital. It's down by San Antonio, somewhere out there. It's very haunted, and I have back problems, so what the hell? I duct taped some selenite to my back, you know, to see if it would stop. It really works. And so after wearing it for the whole car ride, when I got to the hotel, I ripped it off. I'm like, "Woo, my rocks are hot," because they've been on my back for 6 hours. And this guy was in my room. He's like, "I'm sorry, what?" I was like, "Yeah, my rocks are hot. What do you think?" "Yeah, my selenite." You know, I'm surprised it didn't crack. So we're down in the basement later, and it's just a couple of friends and I, and we were like, I really don't like the people who go, "Can you make it go to the green? Can you make it go to the red? You know, can you light this up?" I'm like, yeah, bitch, I'd be slapping that out of your hand and go right across the room.
Oh, right.
It's like, watch this. And so nothing was happening with all this line of questioning. And so I leaned over to my friend. I said, maybe I should ask him about the hot rocks. And right then, all the K2s lit up. I'm like, "Oh, so you like hot rocks?" And I said, "Well, do you like gemstones?" Because I always wear gemstone rings. There was nothing. I was like, "Oh, so you like the hot rocks, right?" I was like, "So, okay, you carry your sense of humor over, I think, or through, or wherever you go."
Sure.
It's still there.
Yeah,
I would think that the duct tape did the fixing, because duct tape fixes everything.
My original thought was it's like a trigger point is what I was thinking, is like it's pressing on my back, you know, and I have the duct tape. But then when I dislocated my arm, I duct taped selenite to my arm, and sure enough, it fixed it. So I don't know.
Let me guess, did you get the pink duct tape or like fancy duct tape?
I'm a television engineer. I had the gray.
The original.
Well, as my granddaddy used to say, you only need duct tape or WD-40.
That's right.
That's true.
If it moves and shouldn't, duct tape it. If it doesn't move and it should, WD-40 it.
That's all you. Because I don't believe in Reiki, but you know, it works because I've seen it work. And if you start thinking about it, it's all about the vibrational healing and energy and all that kind of stuff. And so I had the selenite, and I was going to rub it on my arm, and I saw a little lightning bolt come. I'm like, "Oh, Oh, so maybe that really does work. You know, maybe there's the covalent bond and, you know, like, I don't know what the electronic properties are.
Or it could have been reversed, like, oh shit, I just fucked my shit up, you know.
I got
Yes, I
pushed
had to
down
have an
here.
F-bomb. Laura loves the F word. If she was on here, she would have
Fudge?
said it.
Fudge, yeah.
Fudge.
Making some fudge, Loki.
Ooh.
I think it's time for shots, right? That's
Well, no, I think it's time to turn Nick into a human pendulum.
Yes, I forgot all about that.
We can't leave without the
right.
Nick flying around in the air. Come on, man.
We're saving that one for the hanged man.
All right. I'm going to tune in for that.
All right.
Go to the chopper. Swing like a pendulum. Now, swing like a pendulum. Do
So
it.
do you guys laugh when you go on your investigations and stuff? Do you guys always laugh this much?
Oh,
All
we
the
sing
time.
karaoke. We were in Rolling Hills Asylum and we were doing Kenny Rogers' Gambler song, just busting out in tunes. Oh yeah, it's all fun.
You have to.
You got to. I mean, we're there for the people, not the building. The building, obviously, because that's the draw. But you know,
Right.
we deep dive into it and find the people that were there and the actual people and talk to them. I've left gifts for people, which are starting to show up on YouTube videos. Like if I go, I'll see those little gifts that I left behind for,
Aw.
you know, the spirits that may have taken their own life or something like that. Just acknowledge them, validate their existence, stuff like that. So
Oh, see, y'all can be part of Wyldwood if you're doing that. If you're not doing this.
I think we kind of are. I think we just got
Yeah.
initiated.
Sorry,
I think
we
just
joined
got
on our own.
initiated.
Like,
Power of 3.
all right.
Yeah.
By Power Rangers. Hey, let's see how can we do this here.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
I get to be a Green Ranger then, if that's the case.
All right, here.
Oh, wait. I didn't watch.
I can't do it.
Come on, dude. Come on. I'm set. I'm set.
I'm too
Okay,
high.
there we go. Does this work?
I'm too high of a priest. Yeah.
Come on,
I
I'm
can't.
set. You guys.
Oh,
figure it out.
I can't
Stage
do
left.
It's like Survivor. Figure out
There
the
we go.
puzzle.
Oh, no.
it. Felt like the girl in The Exorcist real quick there or whatever. That would be something if I did show up behind Dean. Just all of a sudden pop in.
Get out of here.
Make the parrot make noise. But yeah, we do have this much fun when we're out on investigations too. I can certainly say that.
Yeah.
So come to the point that I like to give closing thoughts. I'm gonna do round robin and let Dean go first. Dean.
Oh, I don't want to go first.
Okay,
Ladies
we'll
first.
let Dean go
Hi,
second.
princesses. First.
Hi, priestess.
Priestess, sorry.
Princesses works too.
Get it.
Any closing thoughts you want to give, Victoria? Any closing thoughts on your end that you want to give? Anything related to what we talked about? Anything in general?
Damn, it's hot. No.
It is. It really is.
Melting my chocolate
No.
martini.
I do love a good chocolate martini. No, thank you so much for having me on. This has been fun because I work at home and I talk to myself and myself answers. So.
That's always it's always a good one when you're answering your own conversations. You know, it's when you start to lose the arguments with yourself that you really got an issue.
Well, you know, they tell me you really need to do, like with Beyond the Fray, when I saw that it was basically a cattle call for nonfiction scripts. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And they go, you really need to do this. I'm like, oh, okay. If you say so.
All right,
You know better than I do.
You don't really have a choice in the matter.
I know. Okay. No, but thank you so much for having me. And I just appreciate everybody and I love everybody. And that's really true. I do love everyone. I don't hate anybody, even though people think I do. I don't.
Yeah, you even said yourself you don't read tarot cards in reverse. So I mean, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, there's too much negativity. And yeah, because probably a cat would show up. We had a feral cat bring us a kitten. It was about a week old. And then Houston, we flooded. So
yeah,
there was that cat. So. No, just be good.
Nothing wrong with
how many tarot decks do you have?
Yes.
Yeah. She's still unpacking them.
I don't know. My favorite is the Salvador Dali one I have back there. It's a limited edition. And Salvador Dali appears in each card. So he's of course the magician,
Yeah, I didn't know that he did tarot, or did somebody model it after his? Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know. I think he did it. It's a limited edition.
It's even better. I love Dali.
He did 3 album covers also, and I have one of his album covers. They're Jackie Gleason album covers.
Really?
I don't even know.
That is a contrast of styles right there, Jackie Gleason and Salvador Dali. But
it's beautiful. It's got the melting butterfly, and it's going up. You Google those. He did 3 album covers, and I don't know. Did Jackie Gleason sing, or he didn't have the record?
Yeah, Jackie Gleason has musical albums out there.
Okay.
You would know that.
Smokey and the
Judas,
Bandit.
right?
I'm a Ralph Cramden fan, man.
Yeah.
And Smokey and the Bandit, yeah. Jackie Gleason.
Dean, your closing thoughts? What do you think?
I think as far as the show's awesome.
Just in general.
I mean,
no.
apparently people are requesting, for this to be every single night, apparently.
I've got to learn the banjo sometime.
I mean, I just love the whole synchronicities. I'm glad other people are experiencing it too. And just know that even though we act crazy, we aren't. Because some of these things can get out of hand where, you start thinking like, wow, this is really, if you start deep diving into it, it can stir your mind a little bit. But you just got to stay in that landing, stay in that playing field and just figure it out. Who's coming up here? Excellent show, lovely guest. Thanks, Laura. That's Laura Redmond. And we have other people joining us too. Ron, love it.
Thanks for joining, Ron.
Paleo. Charles Williams. And that's all who commented anyway, but
we had a few more in there too. I kept track as we were going. Charles leads me to, we don't want to go, we would be remiss without mentioning, who we're dedicating this season to, which is Charlie, our buddy that, Charlie Kinstrom. He passed away years ago, but he was a tarot card reader.
He gave me this deck.
Gypsy. He gave the deck to Dean. He would have definitely wanted to be known as a gypsy. I know that.
It's not bad.
It's not. It's not bad at all. My closing thoughts. Again, I've closed with the thoughts of the decks as we go along here, but the High Priestess advises people to adhere to their chosen spiritual practice on a more regular basis. If you want the benefits of evolution, you have to cooperate with the spirit, right? We all have distractions, demands, whole life full of reasons why we can't find time to retreat to our inner sanctum. But, you got to take that time. You got to follow the spirits and know that their temperament and routines will get you through every day. And with that, lovely guests, lovely folks. We will catch you next week.
Oh, hey. Wow. Oh, hey everyone, it's Dean from Paranormal Pickers. Oh, I got the preview for the next episode. Oh, yeah. Here, take a peek. Oh.